I got a new phone. I got a 12 Pro Max, iPhone 12 Pro Max. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a video with it, just comparing it to the usual camera that I use, the Panasonic GH5. I can't imagine I'll be using this camera all the time, but I thought it'd be kind of cool just to test it and compare it and that sort of thing, and I think it might be kind of a cool camera. So, we'll see. We'll check it out. That's Dowd's number 9. It's a great reel, and it's one I play a lot. It's a great old standard session tune, and it's an awesome flute and whistle tune because it's got lots of room for crayons and things like that. It just, it just fits really well. So I thought it'd be kind of a cool one to break down and a good opportunity to test this camera. Now, most of what I'm shooting is going to be with this camera. I'm going to mix in a couple other shots, early on, and just, for comparison's sake. Audio-wise, I'm always using this Rode mic that I use for all of my stuff. You can kind of just boop, see it? Yeah. So I'm going to be using that for most things because that's not really what this is about. It's not about the audio of a camera. I mean, my own camera's onboard mics aren't going to be that great. I can't imagine the phone is going to be awesome, though I bet it's probably not bad. And, there might be a shot cutting away to me while I'm editing going, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's break this tune down, though, starting with the A part, basic melody first, of course. First half of the A part, it does drop below the range of the whistle, which hopefully that doesn't drive you too crazy. I think it's kind of cool in this case. You can do some interesting things with it, which we'll get to when we get to the ornaments. But just bear that in mind, those last few notes there do drop below the range of the whistle. So keep that in mind. Here's the second half of the A part. So, as happens frequently, the second half is very similar except the very end of it, where it does not drop below the range. The second half does not, so it stays above. That's really the only difference between the whole first half and the second half of the A part. But I will now run them all together, so you get the whole thing. Yeah, that's your whole basic melody of the A part. B part, as again, often the case, jumps up to the second octave. Not a whole lot of notes there. It's a fairly narrow range. The second half solves that problem a little bit. It does jump quite a bit. So we'll play that right now, and then I'll put them all together again. The B part of the tune does drop below the octave, whereas the second half of the A part did not. First half did. A little bit of a difference. Just kind of one of those things that makes this tune kind of cool. So, whole B part. So, whole B part. That's the whole thing. Now, fun part is the ornaments, as always. Let's jump on that. Now, I tend to start this tune with a cut. To me, this feels like a very piping tune, very pipe-friendly tune, uilleann pipes, that is. And I would imagine an uilleann pipe player starting out with that big bonk, big kind of a honking grace note on that, so I'm trying to simulate that as best I can on the whistle. And I do a big cran there, so the first few, I'll tend to do a triple roll in the F sharp. Don't really have to. Could just do a regular roll, that's fine. Big cran on the D. Now, that's a fairly advanced ornament, so if you're not feeling that yet, if you're not, comfortable with that, that's fine. The trick there is that you really just want to get a good strong bottom D, because that's kind of one of the selling points of this tune. So however that works for you, you can just cut it, you can just land on it real hard. And kind of holding that note out, I think, helps, accent it, make it a strong beat. Nothing really there except just a cut on that B. And then a roll in the F sharp. When I do those rolls, I tend to do sort of just kind of like tapping or sliding into the roll. So I'm really in the F sharp roll, I'm hitting an E first. And the same thing on the G roll, hitting the F sharp first. So just kind of the note below it. Now there, I do that pop, that kind of, I don't really have another name for it. As I land, go from B to A. Demonstrated that a lot. Going from B to A, you pop that top finger off, and it just has that cool, subtle effect. And I do something kind of similar, sort of a double tap on the F sharp. Don't really do anything else there. When it jumps below the octave, there's really not much need to over accent those. I think the octave jump itself is kind of an interesting bit, so I don't usually mess around with that. Feel free to add stuff if you're so inclined. Then around again. That bit's all the same. I tend to do a lot of the same stuff. Not always. Sometimes I'll make some subtle changes, but now to finish the phrase where it doesn't go below the octave, the second half of the A part, I'll pop those bottom Ds a little bit, again simulating that uilleann pipe kind of sound, that strong low D. So as I land on that D, what I'm doing is I'm popping the F sharp finger off. And that's one that's got to be kind of quick, because you just want just a short ornament. You don't want that ornament to actually sound as a melody note. Sometimes I'll do it twice, sometimes not. That's kind of the gist of it for the A part anyway. B part, first thing I do is cut that F sharp, and then a cran. I like cutting that first one because it is a downbeat. It signals a change in part, and just like on the A part, where I cut that first note, I don't know, I think it sounds kind of cool. The cran, that's another one. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. I think it just makes that note pop out, and anytime you get to sit on that high D for a second, it's kind of cool. And then a short roll in the F sharp, and then I'll cut that A. Now, a lot of these videos I've been telling everybody, don't do too many ornaments on the upper octave. This is one where I break that rule. I'm not really sure why. Could just be because I've been playing this tune for what seems like an eternity, that I'm fairly confident with it, and I'm not too worried about cracking the notes. That said, you still do run that risk of the higher octaves, particularly the top hand on the higher octave, being a little bit more susceptible to breaking if you do an ornament there, if you do a cut. If you want to try it, cool. Just make sure you get it right, I guess. So a lot of crayons. This might be a good tune to work on if you're trying to learn crayons, because there's a lot of opportunities for it, so it'd be a good one to get up to speed just for that reason, if not for anything else, besides the fact that it's just a cool tune. You could just tongue it. I don't know. To me, it loses something, but that's, I guess, a matter of preference. So really just cuts. Other than the crayon, that's really all I'm doing. As I do that walk down, every one of those notes I cut, the top, the highest note, kind of like the turnaround in that little walk down. And I just think it's kind of a cool rhythmic effect as we're accenting those kind of descending lines, still sort of an arpeggio, but you hit the highest note, kind of a cool accent, I think. And you're not always hitting the downbeat. You're not always hitting like the one in that bracket of 4 notes. This simple roll on G. And that same popping thing. This is kind of how we finish the first phrase, the first half of the A part. And then around again because we skip the octave. We do the octave jump. That's how I play this tune. That's how I like doing it. Hopefully you guys dig this. Let me know what you think about this camera, the phone camera thing. I'm just kind of curious myself. I don't know. I'm not going to be using it for videos going forward. Just thought it'd be kind of a fun science experiment to check it out. Let me know. I will see you all in the next one. Cheers, guys.